Hello folks, we are back from the University of Oregon coming with you with a very special surprise. Two of our own smashers here, Brandon Chan and Matt the Fox Miyamoto, are going to be running Majora's Mask Any Percent. Brandon will be running, on English. He is there on the right, and Matt will be running Japanese there on the left, using some pretty special tags. We're going to wait and have them be ready to get started whenever they want. They're going to tell me that they're good to go, and we're going to start a countdown. And on go, you press yes. Okay? So everybody ready? Alright. Last check. Okay. Hotkeys live. So on go. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, Brandon with a 3-frame advantage right out the gate, which he will lose in 1 minute due to shitty English text.
Yeah, you're probably already ahead. Don't worry about it. See, look at that. Yeah, you're well ahead. Man, I'm so I didn't see. I did right when he said go. If you end up winning. If you win by 3 frames or less. Yeah, if I win by 3 frames or less. I'm calling shenanigans. Alright, cool. It's almost. Check frames by frame. What's up for you though? I'm gonna win by. Hope not. I hope that you win by like 2 numbers and that I get sub 2. Yeah. Found a way to. That's already ahead. Yeah, I'm pretty good at this part of the game. You are pretty good at this part of the game. Very perfect so far.
Alright, so Majora's Mask is known for having a pretty long intro sequence, so a lot of what's going to be happening here early on is some pretty long cutscene. Coming up right away, though, the first thing that they're going to be attempting to do is skip a pretty significant cutscene. It's actually going to be more important for Brandon than it is for Matt. The Happy Mask Salesman cutscene will be coming up in not too long, and that's cutscene that they're going to skip by attempting to pause every frame, letting 1 frame go by at a time while exiting the door into Clock Town. Now that's coming up in just a little bit, but for now they're just going to take a pretty easy ride to the start of the game. So we're going to be jumping back and forth between the two as far as audio sources go. Right now your audio is coming from Matt on the left. As interest makes it appropriate, we'll jump to Brandon for his audio and just kind of let things roll. I might be having some other commentators joining me on mic here, just to ask some questions about the run and learn some cool things about Majora's Mask speedrunning. So Matt's starting off with a pretty good advantage. The text is going to catch up to Brandon eventually. It's already given him a slight advantage just based on the speed with which he was able to get through the start of the game here. As the beginning part of the game is mostly text and cutscenes, most of this is going to be in Matt's favor. There are some interesting differences in Majora's Mask based on the language, and this isn't very common for Nintendo 64 games. However, the English version for Majora's Mask was produced almost a full year, about 7 months, I believe, and published after that. And that gave the Nintendo development team some time to take a look at the structure of the game and fix some of the small little things that they thought were a little too tough or that they thought needed to be worked out. Which means we're going to be seeing some interesting little subtle differences throughout the run as to how they approach different situations, and I'll try to point those out as I have the opportunity. So coming up here, there is one subtle little skip that I'm not sure if these two are going to go for. There's a way to skip a text box on a flower coming up. We're going to see if they attempt it. It's a pretty tough trick. It's a frame perfect side hop onto the Deku flower to dive into it without getting the text box. It's pretty tricky. We'll see if they can get it. Only saves about a second. Maybe a little more on Brandon for English. Those faster text boxes already going to work for Matt. Give him a few seconds advantage here.
No, don't do it. Otto gets embarrassed in the end.
Dude, like the last 5 are all fine.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah.
As it should be.
It's probably like
But it's
all
just
flying.
Yeah. Like they just do the
Okay.
players in order. Like one video that 4 I will play.
Matt doesn't even go for the text box skip. That's okay.
Missed it.
Brandon, I'm guessing, may just roll up to the flower. Nope. Yep. Alright, so I'm pretty sure that Matt is turning up his volume because he uses an audio cue for the Happy Mask Salesman skip. And that's coming up right here, right at the top of the windmill. It's interesting because the ideal skip gets the pause on the first frame correctly. Okay, so Matt did it. He got it just before going up the third step. And he has a really good spin here, so he might be able to make this pretty quickly. It's looking like a very nice setup. He's a little bit far right to the door right now. We'll see how they line up. He needs maybe like 3-4 more frames. Oh no, door trolled, door trolled. Oh, nope, he is through. And Matt is through. Brandon is getting pretty close, but he's going to have to push the door open manually. Definitely making a few more extra pauses here. Yep, there we go. Sorry for the flub there. The timers are accurate now. Now, a good time for high-level speedruns for an ocarina time is around a 16:30. I'm guessing that these guys are going to be rolling probably somewhere in the low 17s range. Brandon, because he spent a lot of time working on the skip, will probably end out maybe around a 17:30. It depends on how the rest of the cycle goes. I do know that they go for the silver rupee chest in the Stockpot Inn, as opposed to attempting to get RNG rupees on Terminal Field. So that's going to add 10 seconds to their ticket at the very least. And then it does save them a little bit of time. They don't have to rely on RNG later. So it's, at the very least, it usually rounds out to about a 5-second plus difference overall. But it loses them the opportunity of 12 seconds later on. But that's okay. Alright. So they're doing okay. I'd say Brandon's probably about 30 seconds behind right now.
Sorry. It was 22 seconds when it was
About that, yeah. Alright.
If only I could touch the wall.
So part of the reason that they're going through Terminate Field right now is when you enter North Clocktown normally for the first time, you enter through one of the other two entrances from within Clocktown. However, if you enter from the external entrance, the game expects that you have already been in there at least once, and so it doesn't play the opening cutscene to entering North Clocktown for the first time. That cutscene itself is only significant because the in-game clock is frozen during that, so less time is expended for the amount of time that they need to spend waiting for the clock tower to open, so that they can go pick up the ocarina and start the actual part of the run. So for Brandon, that's pretty significant because he's already behind a little bit in in-game time. Once they come out of this and actually get up to waiting for the clock tower to open, you'll see that they'll actually end up at the same spot. All that's actually different between their routes will just be the distance that they are, or the amount of time they have left waiting for the clock tower to open, which is essentially the goal of optimization in the first cycle is to get that to open as quickly as you can. So Matt misses the gainer, but Brandon's already up there and waiting. Now, what happened here? Brandon, did you even get rupees? Oh. Oh! Okay, so here's going to be something interesting. I thought Brandon went and picked up rubies so that he could purchase explosives later, but he's actually going to go into the ocarina time with a bit of an advantage, but that's going to lose him time a little bit later on, based on the way that he does dungeons. He won't need those explosives, so it's costing Matt a little bit more time here. In the long run, I'm pretty sure it works out in favor for Matt, but we will see, just because. Alright. So Brandon is actually going to be entering Clock Tower and picking up Ocarina first, or maybe, depending on text. So Brandon is going to be doing something interesting. He is not going to be taking the Grotto Wrong Warp, or the Grotto Alternate Exit, like Matt is, because one of the subtle differences is that on the English version, the Grotto has a ceiling, and that ceiling prevents Brandon from being able to clip over the top of the inside of the grotto and pass through to the other side. So Brandon's coming up on his ocarina time, which is 1701 for him. Now Matt's coming up on his. Now this is pretty interesting. He's about a 7:14 is a pretty solid pace for a runner of Matt's caliber. 7:14, it loses about 10 seconds to opening the silver rupee chest in the Stockpot Inn. And so factoring out, he's on pretty good pace for a pretty decent run. He got the Happy Mask Salesman skip pretty quickly. It didn't waste too much time in other places, so he's doing okay. Alright, so now there's just a lot of cutscene. They're going to come back, and once they go back in time, they're going to hit up the Happy Mask Salesman for the Song of Healing first, and then they will do some other interesting stuff along with that. So their next big goal is going to be to do a lot of prep work in the Great Bay area. Great Bay has a lot of interesting things. It's one of the larger bottlenecks of this race, of this run altogether, because the biggest thing that you actually need out of Great Bay is the New Wave Bossa Nova, which is required to open the Great Bay Temple. But there's a whole lot of prep work that actually goes into the use of the New Wave Bossa Nova. First of all, you have to get bottles, because bottles are what you use to hold eggs. Because the eggs that you collect from two different places, Pirate's Fortress and the Pinnacle Rock area. So in Pinnacle Rock, you collect them just by themselves, but you need bottles. And in the Pirate's Fortress area, you have to sneak past the guards. You have to fight one of them, and you have to collect those in bottles as well. So you have to take 2 trips. So the prep work that goes into that is getting to Great Bay, picking up the Zora's Mask when you're in Great Bay, duplicating enough bottles such that you're able to pick those up pretty quickly, the eggs, without having to make multiple trips. And then there's one more thing. Well, I suppose this is kind of a side, but you have to get the hook shot from within the Pirate's Fortress, which helps speed up some of the other process. And throughout this, you also need explosives. You also need some other small things here and there. So they're going to be doing some interesting route deviations. They're going to start off trying to get the Song of Soarings. So Matt is able to overtake Brandon by power of accurate song playing, which is interesting. They are almost tied right now.
Okay, you're gonna make up for it.
Alright, so we're going to check out here for just a second and come back in not too long and talk about index warp, which is the next cool thing coming up in this speedrun. Alright, so right now, they're both trying to pick up some rupees real quick, which they can. Matt is going to be depositing some, actually, so that he can pick up the Giant's wallet. And then he's going to be picking up all of them, or a good chunk of them, so that he can purchase some explosives. Brandon's going right to purchase explosives because he won't need any new ones later. Alright. So Brandon having acquired his explosives is now going to go attempt something pretty cool. He's going to he is going to first get the infinite sword glitch off of this sign here, which you can see from his glowing sword. Now the hitbox of the sword is now always active. So now what he's going to do is go over here to this wall, and he's going to start using explosive to hover over it. Now he's using an interesting setup. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. But there are a lot of different ways to get into the particular position you need. The biggest goal here is going to be make sure to get over the wall pretty quickly. You can see Matt is also doing that to the left. He's doing, I believe, a slightly faster setup. Yeah, that's a really safe setup now that I think about it. And he's just going to jump off the side there, because that's faster than any other method of getting out of there. So he's actually going to go purchase some more bomb shoes right now. Brandon's not going to have to do that. He's going to be going right straight towards the southern swamp, whereas Matt is going to take a pretty interesting different route to get there. So Brandon now is making his way over. Okay, he's good. He manages to catch it. Now, is he going to do an ocarina dive? I'm not sure. He is, and he's going to be doing the Song of Double Time. And this is the first example of what we're going to see, which is called song storage. So before the song is able to complete, you'll notice that he voided out by falling through the end of the map area. And so what that did is it stored that text to advance the game 12 hours, or advance to the night of the first day, which he wanted to do, but if he were to play the song normally, it would actually cost him quite a bit of time, because it plays a cutscene, and it's not too much time, but it is enough time that it's worthwhile to change it that way as opposed to the other way, because he has to get back to it anyway. Over on the left side of the screen, Matt is now attempting to do a hover up to the top of this grotto wall. Brandon can't do this because English puts an unfortunate little wall in his way. But Matt's doing this, and by doing so, he's going to be able to go from the interior of this grotto into another grotto that you can't see because it's unloaded, but it is there, and what's important is that it includes the exit to that grotto. And the exit to that particular grotto from which he's able to go, into which he's able to go, happens to be one that is in the Deku Palace, which is exactly where he wants to go. Brandon's also going there. He's taking a bit of a different route. He attempted a super slide right there and didn't manage to get it. That's okay. So Matt had to attempt a hover there, and he is not doing too well at it, but he did get up onto the ledge, which is good. So now he's going to attempt to hover onto this platform, but he has to wait for it because he wasn't able to catch the timing cycle very correctly, and he was hit by the Deku Baba there, unfortunately. So he may be caught here, yep, and he will get sent outside the palace. And he's going to have to go inside and attempt it again, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if he has enough explosives to attempt the hover, so he actually may have to do this manually, unfortunately. Over on the left side of your screen, Brandon is making his way. I believe he's actually going to the... is he? Yeah, he's going to pick up a bottle first, before anything else. These two are going to be clearing the same things inside the southern swamp area. The two things that they really want to pick up are a bottle from the Witch Sisters, and the, well, three things, I suppose. They want to pick up two songs. They want to pick up the Song of Soaring from Kaporagebora, up there on the top of the waterfall. They want to pick up the Sonata of Awakening, which is required to open the Woodfall Temple later on. And they also want to pick up this bottle. Now, Brandon's doing that one first because he came in the intended way, per se, to the forest. So he'll be going to get that first, and then he'll be heading off to where Matt is now. Now Matt was finally able to make his way over to the entrance to the Deku Palace where the monkey is. The monkey is going to be able to share him the Sonata of Awakening, which is going to allow him to later open up the Woodfall Temple. So the magic hags actually give you a free bottle with red potion in it. The original intention, is you'll be able to read in English on Brandon's side, is that you're supposed to go give it to the sister who's in the forest. Brandon's a jerk, so he's not going to do that. He's just going to take it and go do other things with it later. So he's heading off to about where Matt is right now to clear the southern swamp portion of it. Now, he has two choices here. He can either attempt a pretty tricky skip past a big Octorok, and it looks like that's where he's headed to give it a shot. You have to do an interesting thing where you have to get up onto a ledge covered next to a big Octorok. And why you do that is so that you can store the fact that you stood on it. Because if you look at the way that the Deku Baba Link hops here, every time he touches a surface that is not water, he stores that surface as the place to which he returns once he fades out of the water. So what he's going to do is get onto that surface, store the fact that he was on that surface, and then void out in the water here, so that when he respawns, it'll be on top of that piece of ledge there, and he can just hop through to the other side. On this one, it doesn't matter because the Octorok spits him where he wants to go anyway. So now he's next to the Deku Palace, and he's going to be headed about where Matt is. Oh, this is interesting. It seems like he's actually opting to go to get the Song of Soaring first. Not sure if he's just going to hop down from there and then go get the Sonata of Awakening. Like I said, the three things that you need to get in here are just the bottle and the two songs. So you can kind of do them in ways that are applicable for you. So that's the way that Brandon's going to be approaching it. So they're actually picking up this song next, the Song of Soaring. And what's interesting is earlier in the run you saw both of them hover over to that hidden owl in Clocktown. That's actually a fake owl that they never intended for you to be able to hit, but it still carries some of the interesting properties of the warp owls. But because that one doesn't have a particular location assigned to it, it draws the index to which it actually warps you from the map screen on the title menu, on the pause menu, that's available at any time that you're out in the overworld. So what that's going to let them do is that one owl, by going and accessing different portions of the overworld map and then being able to select those on the map select screen, is going to give them the interesting ability to go to different places on the map based on completely different places that they've already also been on the map. So essentially what this means is because different areas are connected to areas that are not the same ones that they are, just going to other places on the map will allow them to access completely different places via the warp song that they just acquired. So the biggest example of this is that by default, without selecting or moving anywhere on the map, they can go to the Great Bay. Now normally, if you want to go to the Great Bay, you have to either hover over the fence to get to the Great Bay area, or get a Pona and hop over that fence. They're going to be able to warp to that area without ever having gone to it, which is going to prove to be one of the most influential parts of the speedrun. They're going to be going to places where they don't even need to go to access places via index warping, so that they can get there faster than they would if they were going to do it normally. So now we're just doing some cleanup. Matt is now going to get the bottle, and Brandon is now going to pick up the Song of Sonata of Awakening. Brandon's running a little bit behind here, I think, but he was able to pick up some pretty good time on Matt, because Matt had to attempt the hovering up to the Deku Palace area where the monkey is a couple of different times. And pretty soon, we're going to see where that levels out. It seems like Matt Still has the advantage here, though. I'm guessing text helped him out a lot with that, and so did just the fact that he used the grotto alternate exit to get to the Deku Palace pretty quickly, so he was able to cover some pretty good ground there already. So now we're going to see the first instance of the use of index warping. When you saw the map that was pulled up there were no areas and no owls that were available because he hasn't hit any besides the fake one in West Clocktown. And what's interesting is by selecting different parts of the map on the menu, that makes available different places to you in the warping area, in the warping map rather, when you play the Song of Storms. So one of the areas corresponds to the mountain village, which is where he's at now, which is in the northern mountains that you would normally have to walk to, but he was able to do differently. So Brandon on the right is just finishing up getting the Snout of Awakening. He'll be headed this direction pretty soon. So now Matt is... So right there what he was attempting to do is do bottle duping. And how that works is there's a very particular direction on your control pad that we like to call ESS position, or Extended Super Slide position. It's the position of the control stick that causes Link to rotate in place or just do this little shuffle with his feet. And that little shuffle, believe it or not, has a ridiculous number of cool properties in this game. Its name derives from the fact that if you are in that position, you will sustain any acceleration that you get from like bombs or damage or other kinds of thing until you receive some other form of knockback. They're going to be using this later on, or I don't know if we're going to see it from either of these two players, but this is what's often used to do hessing or hyperextended super slides with bombs. But at the very least, we are going to see them use it for bottle duplication, which is where if you press, if you have a bottle in your hand that contains different things. So we're going to see Matt attempt it again right here. He has a blue bottle in his hand, and he's going to attempt to press that button, the button that has the fairy on it, while in ESS position, and then 1 frame later, he'll be pressing the button for the stick item on his C right button. So there he was able to do it. And what that does is it actually makes the game think that the last button that you pressed was the button that had either the nuts or the sticks or the bomb chews, which he's going to do now, on it. And it thinks that that's the button that should now have the empty bottle. So it places the empty bottle over that tile in both your inventory and the C buttons, as opposed to the other areas. So Matt was able to get all 4 successfully. Why he did this is because soon, as I talked about earlier, coming up is basically a fetch quest. He has to go get eggs from both of these guys have to go get eggs from the the Pirate's Fortress, and then again from Pinnacle Rock. So Brandon is doing a very interesting, different version that hasn't been used in the speedrun for a while. But he did the same thing that Matt just did, bottle duplication, through use of the the Curiosity Shop, where if it works by a similar property. If you attempt to sell a thing, any particular thing, to the Curiosity Shop owner, you have 1 frame in which to 2 frames rather, in which to press a different button that will then give, he will overwrite whatever value should have been on the button of the item that you gave to him onto the other button instead. Now in this case, because he sold him a red potion, the game thinks, oh, I need to put an empty bottle on the button that used to have the red potion. But now it doesn't. And it instead puts it on the last button that he pressed, which is whichever button contained the item said you wanted to duplicate a bottle over. So that was a lot of this. This run from this point forward is just a lot of really fast stuff. Pretty cool tricks happening all around. This is a pretty light area. Right now they're just attempting to get the Zora mask playing the Song of Healing for Macau, so that he can go off in peace and become a mask for us to use.
I play the song of healing first. You never know. Look, I got this for free. What is that? Turn in to service center.
Oh, Sean, hey!
15 seconds behind. Behind yourself? Yeah.
Welcome, friends.
Like a minute because I failed.
So make it up at 20.
Make it up. Running games.
Actually, how was your last one?
Summer camp.
So Matt picks up the Zora Mask at around 40-25. That'll give us a good metric to see how far behind Brandon is. So Brandon's pickup is at about 4:59, so he's about 35 seconds behind Matt. That's not too bad for the situation that he's in. They're doing pretty different runs based on the language differences and just some other small applicable trips. So that's a pretty cool place to be in, actually, for where these two are at.
To sell. Just because then you have the money for bombs.
Alright, so little quirk there. Brandon actually put on the Deku Mask and then the Zora Mask. Not because he needed the Deku Mask for any reason, but because the first time you put on a transformation mask, the game wants you to have to watch the cutscene of them going through the gross transformation into the Link going through the gross transformation into the new transformation. But if you transform into one that you've already transformed into first, such as the Deku Mask, you can skip that cutscene and never have to do it again, which is helpful. So now we're going to be seeing Matt over here on the left side make the first attempt to skip most of the Pirate's Fortress first area by hovering over to the part that you're not supposed to be able to access until you have the hookshot. So he's going to start by getting ISG, and he's going to start a hover like they did before. Going to aim roughly in that direction. Now he's going to attempt a few bomb hovers. If he doesn't do any mega flips, I'm pretty sure 7 is the number that he needs to get over there. If he does them all well, it might take 8, but I'm pretty sure he can do it in 7. All those are pretty good. No, he was able to make it in 6, which is cool. So Brandon will be attempting the same thing. He doesn't have any bombs to spare, though, so he's going to want to be very careful with this. Take a very straight line approach to it and make sure that he does get over. So Matt's probably going to be attempting a super slide across the courtyard here. Nope, because no pro strats. So here's where we're going to see a very big difference in their routes. Matt is going to be able to do a really cool thing where he just walks up to the room where the pirates are and jumps right past them. This is because in the Japanese version, the pirate's vision at night is severely limited for God only knows why. And despite the fact that this room is full of pirates, he can just skip past them and avoid their vision, which is what makes it really cool. Brandon's going to have to go around and shoot this bee from the outside. So this is a pretty big disadvantage when it comes to the English version. So he's going to knock out this this pirate. So now he's going to pick up the first of the many eggs. There are 4 in Pirate's Fortress and 3 in Pinnacle Rock. And he's also going to pick up the hook shot, which is going to be one of the first splits he's got here. So now that Brandon's up here, he's in a spot where he can hit the bubble now. But he does unfortunately have to watch this cutscene, which is made even worse by the fact that he's in English. So that'll be interesting. Matt's doing a very interesting and needless setup for getting down to this level. Because you can influence Link's falling speed or falling inertia while in the air in MM, it makes it easy to jump off that ledge and then clip into the area that you weren't supposed to be able to do, but you can because this is Zelda. And he hits it in the first shot, which is good. So now Matt is making his way around the Pirate's Fortress. The next goal is going to be to collect the rest of the eggs from this area. Matt has already gotten 2 out of the 4. He's going to pick up 2 more. Now he's doing a setup, and then he's going to jump slash over here to get to the 3rd. Brandon still has to go down and pick up the hook shot here. But he won't have to do any fancy shenanigans to get around this room. He's just going to walk up, bust a barrel, and pick it up. Also, for whatever reason, the hookshot chest is in a different direction. No one knows why. So now he's going to pick up. He's going to pick up the egg over here, and then gonna go. Gonna go finish up collecting otherwise. So Matt is gonna play it safe and kill that Gerudo guard, or rather pirate guard. It is possible to get past that guard without hitting her. You can just do some fancy rolls and a couple of side hops, and you can get past her without even touching her. Matt's pretty happy. He got a cool little shortcut thing there. If you press the fairy button to release the fairy just as you head into that pirate cutscene to start the fight, you can release the fairy while that opening cutscene is happening, and you don't have to waste the time of doing it while you are in. Oh, unfortunately, Brandon was not able to make it into the Pirate's Fortress little ledge area there. He's going to attempt it one more time. There are a couple of different setups. He attempted to do it via jump slash. So he's going to do it again and do, I believe, the setup that Matt did last time. So what he's trying to do is get barely over the edge and then catch the ledge as he comes down. He's having some trouble with it, though, and he may need to be careful. Brandon, if you fall one more time, you're going to die, so you should use your red potion, like, now. Brandon decides to clutch it out. Good for him. Picks up a heart. So Matt is done with the first round of eggs. He's already back at the Great Bay Laboratory, dropping them off. He needs to empty his bottles so we can go do one more pickup round at the Pinnacle Rock area. Now, normally in Pinnacle Rock, you have to... the intended method of getting to Pinnacle Rock is while you're in the Pirate's Fortress, if you have the Picto Box, which you pick up from the Great Base, rather from the Woodfall Swamp area, you take a picture of a pirate, and then you take it to the guy who sells exotic fish over at a different shop on the Great Bay coast. He gives you a seahorse that really wants to get back to its wife in the Pinnacle Rock area, and the seahorse will guide you through the sort of maze in the maze area that is the haunted, the Pinnacle Rock opening area, because there are places where you'll void out, which we're going to see on Matt's side of the stream coming up pretty quickly. Brandon's just doing cleanup now. He's picking up the rest of the eggs. Let's hope he has a pretty easy time of it. He had some trouble getting into that alcove before. Let's hope that he can roll past it pretty quickly. I think he can. So now Matt's going to be attempting to go past the Pinnacle Rock opening area here. What we do is just memorize it, because it's not worth going through all the trouble of finding the guy, or getting a picture. First of all, getting the camera, getting a picture, giving it to the guy, getting the seahorse, and having the seahorse guide us every time. The route stays the same, so we can just memorize the way that it takes to get through that area, and then go to it. So Matt did that, and he's through. Now he's just killing off these eels and picking up the eggs that are behind him. There are 3 in this area in total, and at the end of it, he's going to do a pretty cool trick to get him out of here, where he's going to play an ocarina underwater. We'll see that coming up pretty soon. Alright, so Brandon's headed back to drop off his first round of eggs. Coming up on about the 1 hour mark, things are going to start moving really fast after this. We've been doing a lot of prep work, moving around, picking up eggs, and doing some stuff like that. Alright, watch Matt's screen right now. He's going to attempt a ocarina items usage, where he's going to... Yep, he got it. So that's use of the ESS position like we talked about earlier. He turns slightly in place, pulls out presses the button for the bottle that we talked about before, and then presses the B button, which actually causes him to use his bin as an ocarina underwater, and he's able to soar out of the Great Bay Area without having to swim up and out, which saves him a pretty good chunk of time. So just as Brandon is leaving, getting done with his first round of eggs, Matt is coming back and dropping off his second. He'll be done pretty quickly here, and he will be picking up the New Wave Bossa Nova, which is, as far as I'm concerned, probably one of the coolest songs in the game, just because it sounds cool, not that it does anything cool. So now we see Brandon headed off to the Pinnacle Rock area. So Matt attempted to do a cutscene skip there, where he pulled out the ocarina to learn the new wave bossa nova, and then he attempted to pause and pull it out again so that he could play the Song of Soaring. Because what's interesting about song cutscenes is for most of them, the game technically adds the song to your memory as soon as you enter the cutscene. However, because you're able to also pause on the first frame of a cutscene, you can also, or sometimes the first couple, you can also manage to both start the cutscene to get the song and pick out the ocarina to play a different song, usually the Song of Soaring, to get away pretty quickly. So if Brandon's able to get that cutscene skip, he'll be able to pick up quite a bit of time on Matt. Let's see if he can get the ocarina items. Nope. Okay, so he gets to the second time. Luckily, it's still in his hand. Alright, so Matt needs it to be daytime because he's going to pick up some extra rupees from the game over here. So Matt picks up all the rupees he's going to need for the rest of the route here. He's going to use those to purchase some explosives to get prepped for some other bosses and some other dungeons, some other cool stuff he's going to do. So Brandon's dropping off the rest of his eggs, and he's going to attempt a cutscene skip right here, the same one that Matt tried earlier. There's a 2-frame window to pause before you have to watch the cutscene. So he's going to pull out his ocarina and then mash like crazy to attempt to get the pause so that he can pull out the ocarina again, play the Song of Soaring, and warp out as opposed to having to watch the cutscene. Brandon does get it, good for him. So he just picked up about a whole minute on Matt. He's still pretty far behind, but he's definitely a lot closer now. Especially depending on how they choose to do rupees. Matt attempting to do a second skip. You gotta time it. You're never gonna get it mashing. It's simple! Da, 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 da. Just count seven beats. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, pause. That's it. Anyway. Okay, so Matt attempted to do what's called Kevin Turtle cutscene skip. Where he would get to skip this cutscene where the turtle pops out of nowhere. Unfortunately, he didn't get that, so that costs about a minute. If Brandon is able to get it, he will pick up some significant time. He may be able to steal the lead away from Matt. They're doing pretty well. Oh, he's not even gonna try. What? Oh! Well, I learned something new. Apparently you don't even... Wow. So Brandon has a really easy way of doing TCS. Wow, didn't know that. Totally